Hi, this is the Queen interpreter from Vietnam. How are you?
I'm good. I was a bit in a rush because I just realized that the interpretation feature wasn't on. So, yeah, so
Okay.
because the Zoom account was not upgraded.
Hola,
So,
Ah,
Dario,
so
um,
hola.
so now
Good
it's
morning.
everything now it's okay, right?
I
yeah.
go
I'm
to
just waiting for the rest of the people to join. I'll just tell them that the Zoom is already open. What a rush.
Mhm. It works.
Okay, I'm just telling everyone to already join. Wait for a while.
Mhm.
How are you, Dario?
Thank you. I'm fine. You?
I'm I panicked a little bit, but I'm good now.
You.
Yeah. I'm currently in Jordan,
Where
actually.
are you? Where are you now?
In Jordan.
In Jordan yet?
Yeah.
Yes. How
So
was it?
we just I mean the main program just started yesterday. So, but before that, during the weekend, we have this site visit. So we went to the restoration area of IUCN in the rangelands. And then yesterday, we just had the opening and all. So the main activities, like the main discussions are about to happen now, but I'm going to miss the morning session. So,
Uh,
yeah,
because now there it is 3,
it
6, 9. It is 10 o'clock.
it's 9, almost 9
9
a.m.
o'clock. 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
9 o'clock.
It's okay. I'm just adding people as I'm just adding interpreters as we speak. And, okay. Just who else am I missing? See, Krishna. Okay, Krishna. Okay. And I was so busy I haven't um made the notes for the Kyrgyz meeting. So Burmese. Okay.
Hello, can you assign me as interpreter? Thank you.
Hello, I
Okay.
can hear.
I will
I
assign you
can
to
hear.
be an interpreter too. Okay. So we already have the um, Bengali interpreter, Hindi, Gujarati, Lao, Burmese, and Vietnamese. Let me just message the rest to please join the session already so that we could start on time. Yeah, it's already almost 2 o'clock on my end, but we don't have enough participants. Almost we're mostly almost interpreters, so let's give them maybe 5 to 10 minutes to join. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mohammed of Kyrgyzstan is raising his hand. Mohammed, please feel free to speak. Maybe yeah. Maybe he just... So Dario, I think we should start in one day and in one day, in 1 minute, if it's okay with you.
It's
The
fine.
yeah, the participants are coming in anyway.
Yes.
So we'll just record the session. But the challenge is that if you could remember from last time, the two presenters supposedly for today is
Yes.
Myanmar and the Philippines. But Myanmar is requested that they
Yes.
present, and then the Philippines is not yet here. So how do you want to go about the recap of the session?
Well, we should start and skip that session to the resume. Let's
Okay,
wait 1 minute if you wish, and then we see the Philippines appear.
okay. I'm just adding the Nepali interpretation. Wait, let me just make that French update. Okay. Chandra, if I assigned you in the French channel because we have already exceeded the Zoom thingy. So for Nepali interpretation, please go to the French channel. Okay. So all right. So maybe we should start already. So let me just turn on the recording. They can, of course, use the recording of our session for today. We still have Dario with us here and, of course, our interpreters. So for those who need interpretation, again,
Good afternoon. Hey.
you just click on the interpretation icon at the bottom of your screen and choose the channel that you need. Just note that the Nepali translation is in the French. It's in the French channel. So let me just make Dario a co-host to facilitate screen sharing. So unfortunately, if you could remember, we assigned Philippines and Myanmar as the presenters for the recap today, but Myanmar has begged off and the Philippines is currently not here yet. So maybe we can assign them instead in the next webinar. Also, just a recap, we had the coaching session last week. So there are many countries who signed up and they discussed their enterprise idea to our business coaches and to Dario as well. And I believe it was a very productive session. Lots of insights and guidance were given, and I hope that it has been very helpful to everyone who attended the coaching session. For those countries who are unable to have a coaching session, don't worry. We have a second round as part of this workshop. So you could still talk one-on-one with our coaches and with Dario. And of course, you have the option to send via email your questions, your homeworks, especially your homework assignment. Not everyone has submitted yet, so please submit. And then, of course, Dario, myself, and the business coaches can reply via email. All right, so without further ado, I'm giving the floor back to Dario. And again, please try to raise your questions, comments, and let's make this a very productive meeting. Just a note to Dario. Dario, we do have Kyrgyz participants today. they will only be listening because their interpreter is out. He's actually
Um,
with me in the forum. They can sort of understand English, but they might not be able to,
to
go
interact.
interact well. The interpreter will just rediscuss it in Kyrgyz once he's free, once he's available. So that's just a note. So there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Millie. Good day, there. So we are now at our last webinar. I am happy with the results of the coaching, as Milin said, because I believe we had good contribution, good ideas. I replayed and we already commented on the documents we received. So please prepare yours for the other sessions to advance. And for today, we are entering more into the details of the business plan. We will see some examples at the end to familiarize with a simple model of business planning. And before we will give the last touch, as I wrote, to our methodology for preparing a simple business plan. And let's start more into the details. First, we should look at the business plan as something dynamics and projected into more than 1 year, usually 3-5 years. It depends on the business, it depends on the context. If the context is more or less stable, we can stay for a longer period. If it is unstable, perhaps we can reduce it and stay within 3 years. We should also identify some results. Results might be, for instance, a reduction of trend of the costs, trend of sales, number of customers. This might be simple say results, which might turn into indicators of achievements of our business goals. This should be reflected in our business plan. You are already familiar with the structure, as I have introduced in the previous webinars, and therefore we know that we are somehow somewhere writing our objectives, our activities, and describing what we are doing. We should also describe our team. In small farms, it might be very, very simple. In bigger farms, this is much more complex and much more detailed. The reason is simple. People are essential for any business, including farming. And here we should explain the people we have working in our farm, starting from the entrepreneur, starting from the farmer first, and therefore explaining qualification, education, knowledge, competence, experience, because this will be important for the assessment, for the evaluation of our business proposal. Let me see. I see some chats. Yeah. Good. And a couple of words on the family farm. We spoke at the beginning, family farms. We are usually inclined to consider family farm as a positive, as an added value. But this is not always the case, particularly those who have to lend us money might not share the same view on family farm, and therefore we should explain why family farming is a is an added value, is a positive thing. So when we talk about the team, we should stress, or more than stress, explain the role, the position, the contribution of the family to the farm business. And for instance, saying that a family farm is much more concerned with the environment, the community, the social aspects of the activity of the farming. Remember and recall what we said at the beginning, the first webinar, about small farming and about family farming. And here we have an overview of how our farm might be described. Some of these elements will be part of the webinar of today. The vision and mission is there. If we have brands, the ownership is extremely important for the business plan assessment, because there we will show whether or not we own the land, other assets, and this is, you know, from experience, how important is that. Obviously, the location and the brief history of the farm, so to show how many years we are in the business, and therefore connected this information with the experience, with our experience in the farm business. One section of today is related to mission, vision, and values. The mission is what we do, what we are doing related to our business activities. The vision is more a perspective idea, perspective concept, what we wish to be. So we are now doing something related to our mission, and with the vision we explain where we want to go, where we wish, what we wish to be. Our business dream, let's say. While the values are the fundamental elements of our business behavior, our way of managing the business. So the mission is largely what we do. Vision is what we wish to do, and the values are more related to how we do that, which way we do that, and according to which principles. Say that values are like a set of principles that we adopt and we follow for the conduction of our business. Let's see them more in details. So the mission is related to our purpose, to clarify more to what we want to do. For instance, in a group of farmers, the mission is very important, because it is one of the reasons this group of farmers stay together. In an individual business, it is more related to our business intention, to what we are doing, why we are operating. So it is related to our current nature, to our current condition and operations. And therefore, let's open a short discussion on how would you explain us your mission. If we asked you what is your mission as a farmer, what would you say very briefly? So if we look at the business plan, we don't need to write one page of our mission. We need specific, simple, clear statements, 2, 3 might be more than enough to explain the mission. So who we are and what we are and what we are doing. So let's open the discussion following Miline's question, which is what is your mission as an actor, trying to summarize. And therefore, using these summaries as examples that then we can refer to when drafting our business plan and make a specific section on the mission, vision, and values. Who starts? Say something.
Dario, if I may, maybe
Sure.
it's also good to differentiate what is a mission statement, and what is an objective. Because they're sometimes interrelated and so on, but there is a difference between the two. So maybe we could let them know that, so that they'd be able to better define what their mission statement is.
Yeah. For instance, Krishna, you see, saying our mission is to our farmer, they get organic manure and fertilizer, lower cost that reflect in their revenue. So we are talking about a group of farmers. Their mission is to provide manure, organic manure, fertilizer at a lower cost. So increase the profit somehow of the farmers through access to better, cheaper organic fertilizers. And that is a good point. This is what they do.
Yes. So maybe to add also, the mission is more of defining why you exist, why your enterprise exists, why your farm exists, why your organization exists. While objectives are more specific, it outlines the path to achieving the mission. So, for example, let me share to you AFA's web page, what our mission is. You could see here, it says that AFA's vision is to build solidarity, raise the collective voice of family farmers, and empower our members as key drivers for sustainable rural development. So that is the overall goal. That's the overall goal of the organization.
Perfect. Thank you.
And in order to reach that mission, we have specific objectives with which we call our priority agenda. So objective is to promote land rights, to promote agroecology, to promote family farmers cooperatives, to promote fair treatment of women and men, and to promote agriculture towards the youth. So these are very specific pathways in order to achieve our overall mission. So that's it. Just a sharing.
Thank you very much. And you see how synthetic is the description of the mission. One sentence, for one sentence is enough, as also Krishna wrote. And now there is another comment which is not related only to earnings. is clarifying, but also related to the protection of land, which is a consequence, a result of using organic manure and fertilizer. That is another very good point. This is what they are doing and why they exist.
Yeah. So for Krishna, for India, the overall mission is maybe to promote organic, the natural way of family farming, and the objectives would be to promote the use of organic manure, to promote or to capacitate farmers to use organic fertilizer, and so on and so forth. So the objectives are more specific, and then the mission is like the overall goal.
Yeah, exactly, like in that way. So with the objective, we are much more specific. Spot some results that we want to achieve, and we describe them in a measurable way. So when we say that we want to increase the yields and the quality of tea, for instance, is perfect, it's fine. When we speak about the objective, we should transform them in something more measurable as well. So we can even associate to that item figures that we want to achieve. That is an advanced way of working and playing with our goals. Oji wrote something, don't see the translation. Yes, that is a general statement which is accurate. So they ensure that the members of the cooperative have stable income and participate in the society. You see. Then this can be transformed, or we can associate to that specific goals. Stable income might be transformed in a specific objective. Participation in the society as well can be detailed more to explain what it means specifically. Look at the example of our association of AFA, to have a distinction between the general, say, statement of our mission and the goals, the objectives that we want to achieve. So keep all these examples from the chat to see, to have on hand examples of the way we can draft in our business plan our mission. Anyone else? So let's keep it aside, Milene.
Yeah, I think let's move
We
on.
we will save the chat and therefore have all these materials ready for a kind of manual at the end. And the vision. So the vision looks forward. So it is a way of giving order to our view, to the view of our future, to the view on what we want to achieve. For instance, Krishna before mentioned to establish a packing center or something like that. That might be part of the mission, might be also part of a vision somehow. It depends on the way we look at that. And therefore, vision is related to inspiration and aspiration. So to have a view of the future, and to the vision seeing what is relevant, what is important for us in the future perspective. Remember what we said at the beginning of today, that we should look at the business plan as a dynamic document, as a dynamic exercise projected into 3-5 years. And therefore, the vision is completing in a more dynamic way what we are describing with the mission, which is who we are, why we exist. The vision is more, and therefore explaining where we are headed, and looking at how we might look within 3-5 years. Let's use this perspective as our reference, 3-5 years. So we are now in a certain situation, in a certain situation. How do we want to be, and where do we want to be in 3-5 years? Where, not in terms of location necessarily, but in terms of reaching our goals and objectives. And therefore, let's open another short round table discussion now on the vision. So let's look at the chat to the mission. Try to reformulate everything, sorry, in terms of a perspective, a future perspective, a vision. For instance, I see that Roger is writing something, so we have seen clearly what are their, what is their moment. Let's see their vision. So this group, what are the expectations? What are the aspiration and inspiration of this group? And look at Milline's question, which is very simply, what is your vision? In small businesses, the vision might not be disruptive, might not be a revolutionary vision, but anyhow, it is good to show to those who are reading our business plan that we want to improve, what we want to change somehow. Not necessarily the vision is related to direct improvements, so, or does not mean that what we are doing is not appropriate, not accurate, wrong. No, that is not that. It is to add more understanding to what we want to do, what is our perspective in the business. For instance, you see the mission and the vision here of AFA, which is related to the family farming community.
Yeah, and maybe if I could, Dario, so what makes it easier for me to identify the vision and mission statement? So the vision is what your company wants to become in the future. Okay, what do you want
Exactly.
to become in the
Exactly.
future? The mission is about what you are doing today. It focuses on the today and what the organization does.
Exactly.
So for
Exactly.
example, if you have I don't know, if you have a car company, sorry, it's not agriculture related. If you are a car company, You could say that your vision is to be the #1 sustainable car company in the 21st century. That's your vision. You want to be the #1 car company. And then your mission, the vision is what you want to be, the #1 sustainable car company in the future. Okay. And then the mission, or what your company does today, is to accelerate or to promote the shift from fossil fuel based to electric mode, or electric car, or something like that. So
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
yeah, so that's
Yeah.
how it works. When it comes to agriculture, for example, for Mongolia, they want to be, maybe in the future, they want to be the #1 artisanal source of wool, and sheep wool and sheep hide in Mongolia. The #1 artisanal, the #1 company or cooperative exporting artisanal sheep wool and sheep hide from Mongolia. And then the mission is maybe strengthening the capacity of the cooperative members on traditional and non-toxic or environment friendly sheep wool or sheep hide processing process, and so on and so forth. So the vision is what you want to become, the mission is what you are doing now. So we have some comments in the...
Our vision is to increase the adoption ratio. Absolutely, this might be an objective as well. So when we have written vision and mission and vision, look at how they look like. So in principle, I like more the style that AFA presented in terms of being visionary somehow in the vision.
Be ambitious in your vision. You say you want to be #1. You have to dream big when it comes to the vision, because that's the one that drives you, and so on. You don't want to be the #2 or #3 and so on. So for example, for Krishna's for India's example of our vision to increase adoption ratio of our product and demonstration, and our organization known for farmers and their product sustainability. Maybe the vision is for all SEWA members to be the pioneer of the #1 pioneer of organic farming or natural family farming in India or whatsoever. And then the mission is how are you doing that? What is SEWA doing for that? So let me sorry, I'm Google translating.
You are smart.
They don't have
Look at Krishna. Our vision is to increase adoption ratio of our product and demonstration, and our organization known for farmers and their product sustainability. The second part is definitely, I would say, part of the vision. That is our vision. The first one might be more as it is a tool somehow. So through the increase of the adoption ratio, which might be an objective and demonstration, our organization will be known for the product sustainability of what we do and of our farmers. So perhaps here we could think whether the increase of the adoption ratio might be an objective rather than part of the vision, which might be described in that sense a bit differently. Definitely, our organization known for farmers and their product sustainability is part of our vision. Correct.
Dario, by the way, we have to read what's written in the chat when we discuss, because so that the interpreters can mention it while they're
Yes,
interpreting.
from Mongolia, yes, that is absolutely part of the that might be part of the vision. That might be part of the vision. Wants to produce products from its members and sell them. This is in between. So because I would ask, want to produce products from its members. Why? Because now you are not doing that, and therefore, what is the change that is related to this statement? This should be explained and looked in a comparative way, the vision and the mission. So our mission is, as a group of is a group of farmers, is a group of producers, produce from our members. Ideally, I would expect that. So if it is not, and we put it in our vision, so that is a change that we want to apply to our activities, we should have explained it before, for instance. And perhaps also translated into objectives. And have specific objective in which we want to increase the ratio of the transaction of our cooperative with our members. Say that perhaps it is 60%, but we want to increase it and have more share of higher share of transaction in the whole, for instance, business with our members rather than with external suppliers. That is part of the entire description of what we are doing. Then we have to see what is mission, what is vision, and what might be objective. As usual, I always tell you to look at the content of what we are describing and understand and have clear understanding of what we want to explain. Then we structure it. Mission, vision, objective. But first, write everything. Then you see what I want you to learn today is to categorize them according to the different natures of what we are explaining regarding the mission, the vision, and also following the AFA example, the objectives, which is what we started from. So we started from having a 3-5 year projection of our business plan with indicators related to objectives. So just writing, perfect. Thank you very much. Let's wait for the translation, and then we can from our code.
I'm using
Good.
Google Translate.
That is our vision. That is our vision. So then for instance, we can translate this in a more general vision in the way that the association is part of the group cooperative vision to develop projects in collaboration with international organizations and with local institutions, because the governor was involved, the Asian Farmer Association is involved. That is part of our vision. So being part of structured projects in which we combine and we partner with international partners like the Asian Farmer Association and with the local authorities, the local institutions. That is definitely part of our vision, and therefore becoming a reference for international projects in the region. That might be a even more ambitious way of writing the same thing. So here we must have also some imagination. Obviously, I'm not here to tell you that we should invent a vision for a vision itself. We have to be always careful, serious in our capacity of looking at ourselves and writing clear and reasonable, achievable statements. The reality for what is related to the mission, and the future, achievable future for the vision. The idea of a project that you said is definitely achievable. So it's not impossible. On the contrary, it is a very good, say, stimulus for the cooperative to change, to improve, to expand their activity. So thank you very much, Ogi. That was a very good point. I think that in the chat we have some good examples already, and therefore we can move to the next, because we are talking about the values, which is a very attractive area of analysis and of work. The values are our principles. If you look at some of the statements of before that we had in the chat, you have seen sustainability, you have seen earnings, you have seen some keywords that might be related to our values. You
Sorry,
see here.
Are you supposed to share your screen?
Yes, I am.
Yes.
It is not.
Please reshare. Yes, thank you.
It is not. Let me. Sorry. Let me do that again. Share screen. Yes, it went. All right. Thank you. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay. So you see here in this chart, in this figure, some possible values like integrity, very general, accountability, customer focus. We spoke already, customer focus, that might be a value. The customer as a value. That is for the cooperative in Mongolia, for instance, customer focus and member focus. For the cooperative, the member focus, and therefore the members, the farmers as a value might definitely be significant, relevant. Passion, teamwork, open and positive mindset, all these are possible values. Looking again at the example of the cooperative in Mongolia, we spoke about this idea of the project, and therefore as like a value might be the connection with institutions, or say international institution, local institution. That might be part of our value. So we value the international collaboration. If we look at the group, the values are extremely important to create their identity, to shape, to define the identity of a group, and give them a common language to build trust among them. From our perspective as a single farm, to the value we can increase the trust on us from the external context, from those particularly and specifically those who are reading and assessing our business plan, because we show them that we are related, and we have incorporated values that are relevant for the stability of our activity. And through the values we can also provide a description of our business in terms of somehow unicity. Perhaps this is not that very easy for a small farmer, but for a group of farmers, definitely more. So the value are set of elements that direct our activity, that guide our activity, our business activity. This is more complex and even somehow more important in a group rather than in a single farm. Anyhow, it is relevant and it is important and it should be described and addressed. As before, let's look at Milin's question now to open a short roundtable discussion on the our values. Innovation, for instance, you see here, might be a value. Responsibility, with the value we enter and we may clarify our relation with the environment, with the community, where we stand in that. Ethics, excellence. So the innovation is not saying that excellence. So innovation is we want to innovate. We are innovative. Excellence is that we want to be the best in our business. Teamwork, you see in this slide also as a tip for us to list and identify our values. What is important before we start our short discussion is that the values should be shared as much as possible, and within a family farm, within a group. The more we are, the more relevant becomes the effort that we do to share the values. So before we define them, say if we look at the process, we discuss them, we share them with our members or with our co-workers in a single, if we are in a single farm. That is the best way of addressing the values. So the values are not the result of a top-down approach. On the contrary, they must be the result of a, if not bottom-up, at least of a shared process of discussion to identify them properly. But let's go to our round table now. You see the milling question, which is appropriate because we are looking basically at the agripreneur, so the individual farm, but obviously those who are representing groups can bring out their experience and their perspective from the group view.
Yes, so the question that we have in the chat box is, what are the values that an agripreneur must have? Or what are the values that your enterprise would have? So maybe I could also give an example. Is everyone familiar with Japanese companies in general? So we know, we know that in Japanese companies, the workers stay there almost forever, right? Once they graduated college, they enter that company and they usually stay in the company for a long period of time. And we could say that their core value is loyalty to the company, loyalty or trust in the company, that whatever happens, they stay with the company because they believe in the product and so on. So that could be one of the core values that the company has. So for you guys, since you're building a business, you're building an enterprise, it's not just about the product, but it's also about what values you want to share within your company and with also your customers and so on. So another example for is Apple products. So we know them, their core value is innovation. So they're the first, well, more or less, they're the first company to mainstream the iPhone, the smartphone, and so on. And then they're constantly innovating, trying to find ways to make better products and so on. So for you, what are the values? So Dario, we have some comments or some answers an answer in the chat box from Benita of Nepal. She said, honesty, hard work, customer satisfaction, team spirit, and quality of product. That's good. That's good. So for example, if Benita says that their core value is quality of product, it means that the tea that they're producing now and the tea that they'll produce in 5, 10, or 20 years has the good quality as same good quality consistently and so on, because that is their organizations or that is their business's core value. It will, and so on.
Absolutely, that is extremely interesting. I like it. So quality as a value is a good point. It's a good point because the quality of the product as value will somehow bind all the components of our business, even small business, the entrepreneur, the workers, to a single common objectives. Therefore, absolutely interested in Benita.
Yeah, and then from Nepal also, Tangkanat said, honesty, humanity, success, progress, freedom, etc. Yeah, I like the humanity and the freedom stuff because that means that it could also mean that you are treating your workers fairly, you're treating them humanely, and you're also on the other hand ensuring that your products are good for your customers and so on.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. And in this way, we are giving those who are reading our business plan the understanding of who we are in terms of which value we are following, and that we have strong values that are rooted in the community as well.
And I think, Dario, it's also a good guiding post for the business because for sure in the future there will be some challenges along the way. Maybe the income is not so good, so you will be forced to make a decision of whether you will lower the quality or lessen or have to lay off some staff and so on and so forth. So when you make those decisions, you can go back to your core values. And if you said that, no, our core values is to ensure quality of product, or our core value is to have good teamwork and fairness and freedom and so on. So when you make decisions during tough times, that will help you make a response or make a decision.
Absolutely. In practice, when we write down our values, we should be able to select the key ones. So don't make a list of 15, 20 values, but focus on the most relevant, the most important, and add a short description what they mean for us. For instance, the Christians say innovative idea, teamwork, quality of product, customer, honesty, encourage team for their good work. These are all related to values. Absolutely, team as a key value, and there we have teamwork, we have the encouragement to the team for their could do also try to make a short, one line, one sentence description of any value, therefore explaining what it means for you and how we are keeping it alive, this value within our farm of our group. For instance, Asmita is stressing innovation, trust, quality. These are extremely important values that we should consider and say present through a short description. Oji is also writing something there. Let's look at what it is with the translation. And also here, thank you very much to all. We have quite good contribution. Keep them as examples, then incorporate to your reality. Is our soil. Land healthy land health is like a value which is related to environment as part of the responsibility that we see in this slide are definitely or might be part of our value. Thank you very much, also that soil is the value can be being environment friendly. That is generally in this case we could describe or introduce a value like environment friendly, and there when we explain make reference to what Oji is saying. She's saying about the importance of the health of our soils. That is absolutely relevant and link the two sides of the environment as a general value with the specificities of our environmental issues, the environmental issue that we have, like protection of soil health. Perfect, that is. But in some cases, we could even make a soil health as a value. Consider some areas where soil has been polluted, has been contaminated, and has been deteriorated because of salinization or other problems. So you have to decide how to structure this, to combine the need of being specific in the clear and not too general, but sometimes not too specific to miss the more general picture of a possible value that is relevant for our activity. So let's always please look at carefully to the situation and describe it properly. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much for this. So we will save the chat and circulate it at the end of the training. And now we go to more crude activity, crude elements. There is another point from Oji, then we look at it. Because the business plan is something that we do related to our business, and therefore finance is part of what we should clearly touch and clearly present in it. We already mentioned that our perspective is 3-5 years. That is for everything within our business plan, including our economic and financial projection and calculation. So let's look at this perspective. For the first year, if we want, we can have even a monthly segregation in the figures per month. It depends on the variability, it depends on the necessity that we have to show it. If we have investments, for instance, at a certain point of the year, perhaps we can decide to split it into months, at least the first year. Otherwise, we can present it on a yearly basis for the 3-5 years of our plan. What are the financial elements that we should consider? For instance, the sales forecast. How much are we selling the next 3-5 years? The costs, and therefore related to the cost, the profit and loss. We can explain how much we want to sell, or we are expecting to sell, how much we are expecting to pay for our activities, and therefore presenting a profit or loss calculation. Part of our financial element is the personnel, and therefore the personnel plan and the personnel cost, and the cash flow. The cash flow is not saying whether we are making a profit or a loss, but we are saying how much we are getting in and we are giving out for our our activities. So the cash that we practically the cash that we have. These are the major elements, financial elements of our business plan, and these are the elements that we will see in the example of business plan that we are doing at the end of our webinar of today. So we will make reference to these specific areas. The profit and losses, it says it is extremely important because there we see whether we are profitable or not, and therefore we make a simple somehow calculation, summing up our income and detracting our cost, and therefore we have a positive part, the sales, and the negative part, which are the costs. There is a next slide here with more details. I would not spend much at this moment in the details, just summarizing by saying that we have sales on the positive side, in the negative side, which are the costs, which is much more differentiated as a general category. We might have, and we have, different costs according to their different origin, their different nature, and that some of the costs are in the profit and loss statement are direct, sorry, are direct, clear costs, like for instance buying inputs. Others are costs that are calculated, like the installment of an investment. So if we make an investment, we will have an expense for that expenditure, which reflects into the cash flow. Yeah, we must have the money to pay for the investment, for instance, to equipment, a new piece of equipment or machine. But in terms of the profit and loss, we have to calculate the installments, because this investment will last for many years, and therefore we have to calculate our profit and losses not as a cost for one single year, but as a share cost for the years of life of a certain period of years, according to the methodology of the calculation that we have to introduce in our profit and loss. So there are different types of cost, and we will see that later. Now it is important that you have this clear understanding that not all costs are the same, not all costs are calculated the same way in our business plan. The result of the confrontation between sales, and cost is the profit or loss result, which is a key indicator of our business. Those who are reading our business plan for lending us money or for including us in a project or for giving us a subsidy, we look at that figure very carefully. That is crucial for the for our business plan. And therefore, let's see practically which costs do you have in your activity. When we talk of cost, we are talking not of categories now. We want to talk more in details of the specific cost inputs, for instance, fertilizer, labor. This is what we want to see. What is relevant in your activity in terms of specifically costs. Let's look at usual admin question. There. And from the translator from Mongolia, when you can please translate the last part of Oji, probably related to values. So let's look at cost very practically. So we want to spot the main costs.
Yeah. So actually, for Mongolia, she is just
Yeah.
sort of supporting
because
why they value the soil or being environment friendly or soil friendly in their products.
Yeah.
In their
Yeah,
products.
that is a good point. That is a very good point. Being positive. So when the risk that I can that Oji wants to address there is the risk that in our effort to put value, to clarify value, we exceed, and then we can give the reader of our business plan the impression that we have also barriers, strong barriers to our business. And I was just saying, it doesn't mean that if you love the soil, you cannot do anything. You can. It is the way you do, and that is exactly the value. The way you do is related to value. Therefore, perfect. So please be very careful and precise in that, and be positive. Value are or should be looked at as a good side of our business plan, as a good perspective. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And the good news is that their translator will be here soon, so I don't need to Google Translate.
Yes, exactly, because you asked. So he was not there yet. So you are still using the Google Translator.
Yeah, but we have a response here.
Krishna said resources. Resources. What does it mean specifically?
Krishna, you have to be specific. So, for example, if your product is rice, what do you need? What are your expenses when
the main resources you need? That is a very good point.
Yeah. So, for example, you could say that you need how many bags of fertilizer, or how many water to irrigate your farm for the how many months that you need to plant the rice, and so on. So you have to be very specific, and how much each of that costs. Like, is it $1 per gallon? I don't know the prices right now, but you have to be specific. Like, do you need $1? I mean, if you need 1 gallon of water, how much is that, and how much will that produce? So you could say that you need 1 gallon of water to produce, I don't know, 1 kilogram of rice or something like that, and then how much will that cost?
And you know, in the cold, crude terminology of business planning, even labor can be included into the resources. It does not sound that nice, but in general, we can also expect that when we say resources, we also refer to the human resources and therefore to the labor. This must be clarified. So here we should be more precise in that, because when we have to describe our cost, for instance, just the resources would not be enough. It should be more detailed.
Yeah. So
Can use the material in the area to improve soil.
It could be that even if you say that maybe what Kyo is saying here is that maybe they could use organic material or manure to use as fertilizer to improve the soil and so on. Maybe that's what she is trying to say. Okay, so Krishna said, for all crop, we need fertilizer, and for preparing fertilizer, we need resources like cow urine, jaggery, dung of animal like cow, buffalo. So cow and buffalo is our resources, and cow urine, dung, jaggery is our raw material.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, let me just assign the Mongolian interpreter. Bold, are you there? I'm going to assign you as an interpreter now, but I'll put you in the German channel.
Okay, thank you.
เบิ่งว่าสิ่งเหล่านี้หั่นน่ะมันมีอยู่ในท้องถิ่นแล้วบ่แน่นอนการปลูกผักการเลี้ยงสัตว์การหยังมันต้องได้มีวัตถุนำเข้าเนาะเลี้ยงสัตว์มันก็ต้องได้มีหัวอาหารมันต้องได้มีอาหารการปลูกพืชมันก็ต้องได้มีปุ๋ยสิ่งเหล่านี้หั่นน่ะเฮามีแล้วบ่เฮามีเพียบพร้อม
For a while,
แล้ว
the
บ่
translation channel was turned off. How can why is it not updating? Wait.
You need to start interpretation function again.
Yeah, but it's not showing. The start button is not okay. Let me. Okay. Manage language interpretation. Add interpreter. Oh, it doesn't want to update. Wait, what's wrong? Why don't you?
Let's see.
Yeah, because I'm adding bold, but it doesn't want me. I mean, I have already added him, but the update to restart the interpretation is not working.
I see 3 times.
Danny, I can translate by I can use Facebook.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
could, if you have another way. I'm just not sure why it's not
Okay.
working. I couldn't add you.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you. Sorry for that. Yeah, the Nepali interpreter is also not assigned. Okay. I'm not sure what's happening. Normally this is an easy process. Nepali. Oh, there. Is it working now? I think I put the Nepali interpreter in the French channel and the Mongolian interpreter in the German channel. So please, whoever needs the translation, please go to the Nepali is in French. The Mongolian is in German. Okay. All right. Sorry for the interruption. I think all interpretation channels are already running.
Good.
So
Really
yeah,
functioning now.
please proceed.
Thank you very much. Interesting. Let's look at what Krishna wrote. They need fertilizer, and that is correct. So we are identifying the two resources like the cows and the raw materials, which is the dung or the urine, what is coming out from this. How to address it in the business plan? In the business plan, we will have assets like the cows. That is a multi-annual investment for a farm, a cow. And we will have the cost for the cows in our business plan. For example, feed for the cow will be one of our costs. Then we can present this in our business plan, a specific statement related to the cost of production of what Krishna properly says raw materials, which are the inputs, more the raw material in this case, these inputs like the cow urine. But what we will see are the costs that we have for the production of these inputs. Different is and much simpler is the case in which we buy those inputs. And in that sense, we will have the cost for buying a certain input, like dung, like manure, for instance. But if we produce the manure, we will have the explanation of the cost, which might be labor, which might be installment of equipment or assets, and for instance, feed for the cows to produce this manure in the example that you are doing. So thank you very much, Krishna, because it was a very good example for the discussion. We can do crop rotation, also can help to reduce cost. That is good, but you see, crop rotation is not directly emerging in a financial part of the business plan. Yes, we should describe it. We should describe it as something that, for instance, reduce the cost, which is related to our value of soil health. That is, for instance, in the value soil health, you can even mention crop rotation, and therefore say somehow promote your crop rotation to the values. But definitely in the description of your business, we should tell that we are adopting crop rotation. Although this is not a direct cost or a cost that we might describe in our business plan. We have to describe the results that we might have, and they will come. They will come. Better yields, for instance, less use of pesticides, less use of fertilizer because of the better management of the farming activity. But indirectly, we will see that. Millie, you raised the hand.
Yes. If I could just share my screen so that I could also provide.
Yes, I should stop share, right?
Yeah, it's okay. I
No,
can
you
just
go straight.
So for example, guys, I just did a quick Google search. So so what is the cost of producing rice? So this is an example but it's in Nigeria. It's okay. But based on their computation, they said that in order to produce 3.5 tons per hectare of rice, these are the costs that they need to spend. So for example, they have to buy seeds if they don't have any yet. They have to pay for buying the fertilizer, for planting, and so on and so forth. And they also include here the labor cost. So maybe the cost of fertilizer application, because that entails labor. So this is how that will be, and so on and so forth. So it's important that you write down all of your costs. And then, of course, there are ways to reduce the cost. So as Kio mentioned, or the other participants mentioned, okay, maybe we could use what is already in the farm, like the cow urine or cow dung. So that is free. So in that case, you're reducing the cost of fertilizer. Or if there is a natural way of applying herbicide or putting herbicide in the farm, then that is another way to reduce the cost, and so on and so forth. So that gives us a greater margin in costing our product. So it's important for us to identify this, because we know that agriculture is a very labor intensive sector. You really have to work hard in order to, earn some money. So we have to make sure that the profit is enough to support whatever effort, whatever time you guys have allocated in the process, or in producing your products. And this is where innovation might also come in, because you will see that maybe producing just rice is not really enough, because the profit is really small and the expenses are growing or increasing. So what additional product, or what other product can you produce that has a higher margin, has a higher profit, that you could supplement or complement your current income from planting rice? So that's where the innovation comes in. That's where the value addition, if you could remember the webinar day 1, was it day 1 or day 2 that we were discussing the value addition, so that you would be able to come up with products that have higher profit, that will earn you more income, so and so on and so forth. So that's it for me, Dario.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Well, interesting in the table that Milini was showing in relation to what Krishna said is about the fertilizers. You saw there cost of fertilizer, which is a synthetic figure, which is expressing how much we are paying to buy fertilizers, probably, which is a possibility. In the case that Krishna described, I would suggest to add 2 lines of fertilizer cost. One for the fertilizer that we buy, and that is simple. We have the bills from the input suppliers, and that is. Then we have the fertilizer that we are self-producing, which depends on a sum of operational costs that we have for feeding the cow, for keeping the cow. So in that case, we could have there still a single line with self-produced fertilizer. So let's say we have 2 lines for fertilizers, both from outside, fertilizer, self-produced. For the self-produced fertilizer, we could have a synthetic figure, the cost, which is the result of a specific account where we calculate all the costs for the self-production of the fertilizer. So in this case, we are very precise, because we don't mix up different things, similar things, fertilizer, but with different origin, both from outside, from the input supply or self-produced, and we give a clear description of the costs that we incur for the self-production of the fertilizer. It won't be difficult, because the items are not many for the production of a fertilizer. But yes, it would be much more precise and more descriptive to showcase them in this way. So to split fertilizer cost into both fertilizer from input supply and self-produced, obviously, whenever we have the self-production of fertilizer. And we are able to calculate it. So thank you, Milene, and thank you, Krishna, for the points. Let me now share again my screen. There are some points in the chat. About the market. The important need to think about the market. Here says major costing of fertilizer, irrigation, pesticide. These are absolutely relevant costs for a farm. And you have seen them in the Nigerian chart that Milene show up. Need to think about the market. This will make the business going. Absolutely, the market is relevant. To produce the organic, we can do less than we do with fertilizer. We need to produce good quality to get our price. Absolutely correct. This is something that we can write somewhere in our business plan. For instance, we need to produce good quality to get high price is something that can be even in the values. If we put quality as one of the values and we clarify what we want to achieve. So the suggestion is to have a break, 10 minutes.
Yes,
Perfect.
let's have a
I agree.
10-minute break. Yeah, let's have a 10-minute break, everyone. So go to the bathroom, grab some snacks. So while we're having a break, I'm gonna show you, of course, a video just to shake things around.
Please.
And okay, let me just wait, let me just stop share because I'm not sure if I click share sound.
My father is a farmer and he owns 5 acres of land. My elder brother is serving in Agri, but I prefer to get my education in agriculture.
In the field of agriculture was a big challenge for me. I have faced an economic crisis due to the pandemic.
ठुलो आश्वासन देखाए तर कार्यान्वयन पनि गरे नेपाल सरकारले त कृषिमा अझै ठुलो लगानी गरेको समाचार सुन्न पाइन्छ तर हामी जस्तो प्रत्यक्ष कृषिमा काम गर्ने मान्छेले त्यो
I had different kinds of problems in crop production like pollution, fertilizers, machinery materials, agriculture materials.
จากภาครัฐหรือธนาคารภาคส่วนที่เกี่ยวข้องเสนอให้เข้าถึงแรง
Europe
1987 là hội viên Hội Nông dân xã Khánh Cẩm, huyện Khánh, tỉnh Ninh Bình. Trong 2 năm qua tôi đang thực hiện mô hình sản xuất lúa.
Khát khao cống hiến để phát triển nền nông nghiệp Việt Nam, và chúng tôi mong muốn được Bộ Nông nghiệp Việt Nam có những chính sách xuất khẩu, chính sách vốn và chính sách khởi nghiệp cho doanh nghiệp.
Mạnh cho nông sản Việt Nam để chúng ta có thể
Nay bảo vệ nông sản Việt Nam cũng như hàng Việt Nam góp phần thúc đẩy nền nông nghiệp nước nhà phát triển.
Thưa ngài Bộ trưởng Nông nghiệp và Phát triển Nông thôn, thưa bà con nông dân, từ bao đời nay thì nông dân Việt Nam luôn cần cù chịu khó trong sản xuất chăn nuôi. Ai cũng muốn làm giàu trên chính mảnh đất quê hương chúng ta. Tuy nhiên trên thực tế thì chúng ta vẫn còn gặp nhiều khó khăn.
Hey guys, real quick, let me give you a tip.
Still have 5 minutes. Dario, while waiting for to restart the program, I think we have 2 participants here. If you could remember, LFN and Pakisama from Lao and the Philippines, who can sort of share about their small and agri enterprise. If we have time later after the the presentation or the discussion. Yeah, so but let me just check with them. Joy, are you still there?
I am. I'm here. Can you see me?
Yes. I'm talking to Joy of Pakisama. Joy of Pakisama, can you hear me? Wait, let me just. It's not in the meeting. So maybe later, I think they got dropped. And then, who was the other participant? From Lao, Kio or Dick, can you confirm if the Lao participant can share later about the agri enterprise? I think it's Fokakam who is supposed to share.
Now we check with the farmer.
Yeah. Yeah. And please let us know via chat if she could do the sharing. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Philippines is here. Joy of Pakisama, are you here?
Yes, ma'am. I didn't have stable connection for now.
Okay, sige. Okay lang. Next time na lang. Yeah. So I think Dario, based on the status of EPOL, it seems like well, Lau will confirm if Fukak, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing her name right. So LFN will confirm if their young farmer will be able to share about their enterprise. And then
Yes.
for the Philippines, it seems like they cannot because as you've heard, the internet connection is really bad. I think there is a storm, I think, or there's a typhoon in the Philippines, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just not sure if it's in Joy's area or if it's in Jumer's area. So
I asked Pu Khao Kham.
yes.
She didn't have the PowerPoint, but she can share her enterprise by
Yes.
talking and translate. The interpreter can translate.
Yes, okay. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Let me just check. I think Noy has sent me the Noy said that Miss Cam will present her business. We don't have PowerPoint, but we'll show the photo. Kio, do you have at least a photo? If not, it's okay. She could just share. She could just speak. Okay. I'm not sure if, yeah. Anyway, so Miss Cam will be able to share later, but no PowerPoint presentation. So I think 10 minutes is up. So we proceed with the discussion. Dario, I'm giving, yeah, please share your screen. Thank you.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Good. So we spoke about the costs, like inputs. We have seen in the milling scheme some example of costs of labor, inputs like fertilizer, pesticides. Now we look at the use of funds. So to bear costs, we need funds because we have to pay for those expenditures and convert them in expenses. And therefore we need a financial plan, a description of the financial health of our farm, and therefore listing our assets and providing a description of the funds that we are using, meaning that the funds we are using, explaining also their origin, whether they derive from our internal funds or from external funds, because we are borrowing money, we have loans, we have grants, whatever it is, and therefore being clear in explaining how we are funding our activity. We have seen before in Milin's chart the costs. We should explain how those costs are funded, where the funds for those costs come out. This is related to the cash flow, because in the cash flow we are considering the expenses, therefore the flow, the outflow of money, but we are also considering the sales, the revenues, and therefore the inflow of money, which is an important, significant way of funding our activities. So not necessarily internal funds, not necessarily money borrowed from financial institutions, but sales as a source of funds for our activity. This will be clarified in the different charts, different papers of our business plan, like, for instance, as we will see, the cash flow. But here we are talking about the narrative description of the way our farm is functioning in terms of finances. It must be very simple, necessary to write that much to write. But here the assets, the land ownership should appear here as well, because that is extremely important for the solidity of our business and the financial solidity of our business. Therefore, as we made before for the cost, let's see what are the problems of accessing funds that you have. We have seen before in the video one of the young farmers advocating for policies facilitating access to funds for the young farmer. That is true everywhere. We have now in our FAO project in Azerbaijan just submitted our proposals of strategy for young farmers, for employment of young people in agriculture, and specific policies for access to finance are necessary as well there, where there is a quite good institutional mechanism of institution providing funds to farmers. Anyhow, specific better policies are to make this process of access to finance smoother is necessary. So let's see in your conditions what we have. Let's look at the question that Milene wrote regarding the challenges we have to access finance.
I'm sure that you have many challenges.
Unfortunately.
Please feel free to write them down.
My suggestion is to be very precise on that in the business plan. If we are, for instance, submitting a business plan for receiving money, like a loan, because sometimes it happens, but not only sometimes, many times it happens, to, in my experience, to meet with farmers who say that their need is money, which is probably true, but in reality, money is a tool to satisfy different needs. The needs might be, as somehow from Leo, now where was it? The market, the Keo said, the important need to think about the get market. This is will make the business. That's the real need. The money is a tool to get, for instance, the market. With money, we can improve our sales. We can create a brand. We can have a communication campaign. We can do many things that are related to our specific need, or one of our specific needs, which is market. Therefore, the answer, I need money, is not a final answer, because to the answer, I need money, a question will follow. For what? And then it is the for what that will convince someone to give you money. Money for market, for reducing cost, for increasing volumes of production, for innovation for different purposes, which might be reduction of cost, which might be increasing of quality, This is the real need. So look at this issue of finance in this perspective, or the perspective of finance as a tool to address specific needs that we have in our fund. Okay, I spoke too much. Now let's go back to your answers to Milin's question regarding the problem and the challenges that we have in accessing finances. Nothing in the chat yet.
Anyone who would like to share? It doesn't have to be in the chat if you want to speak.
Absolutely,
Just, yeah, just unmute yourself.
Hear your voices.
So that we could hear your lovely voices.
I agree.
Or maybe no one has tried yet to access grants or financing.
Maybe.
But I'm sure that I've heard Jumer before shared about the challenges. Jumer, maybe? From the Philippines?
Oshi raised hand, please.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think Mongolia Ugi is raising her hand. Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and let's all move to the English. I mean, Dario and I will move to the English channel. Go ahead.
За сайн байна уу. Өнөөдөр чиг ойлголцож чадахгүй аягүй бодлаа. За манай хоршоо болохоор зээл авах гэж бас хөөцөлдөж үтсэн л дээ. Тэгээд манайха одоо ингээд энэ 21 оноос өсвөлээ дуулна хоршооны тухай юм шинжилсэн хуультай болсон юм. Тэгээ одоо хуулийнхаа өрөөнд хоршоо зээл авах хэрэгтэй болоод тэгээ ингээд би зээл авах гээд Монголдо төсөл бичээд тэгээд төслийнхаа ингээд анхан одоо өгөх анхан шатнаас нь ингээд өгөөд яваад байгаа хгүй юу. Тэгэнгүүт тэр төслийн маань хүлээж авч байгаа газрууд маань одоо нөгөө шаардлага тавихаар барьцаа өрөнгөтэй байх хэрэгтэй гэх тэгэнгүүт хошоо барьцаа өрөнгө байхгүй болохоор нөгөө манай Монгол ийм зээлийн батлан даалтын сан гэж байдаг. Тэгээд тэр батлан даалтын сангаар нөгөө нэг зээлийнхаа 60%-ийг батлан даалгаад банкнаас ингээд зээлийг хүсэж болж байгаа байхгүй юу. Тэгэнгүүт манайх 90%.
Wait for a while, Ugi. Bold, could you interpret in the English channel so that the other translators can hear? Thank you.
Because I cannot hear the translation, for instance. I don't know what about the others, but I heard Ogi original speech only.
92 гишүүнтэй тэгээд
гишүүнээс I can hear you.
Can.
Гишүүнээсээ юу гарч
Yeah. Try please to summarize again the two problems that Ogi said, please, because I did not get it precisely. So she said two problems. First is
I think the first one is the lack of collateral.
lack of collateral is the second one, I understood, but the first one I lost it. Cooperative law. Yes. And therefore, if they ask for a loan, for instance, the members should put their assets to guarantee the loans of the cooperative. The cooperative does not own any asset, physical asset to give a collateral, and therefore we have the second problem, which is collateral. Have a look if I summarize properly for the others. Thank you. Thank you. That is a very specific set of two very specific problems related to fund. Let me see the other market and transportation. Yeah. There was a program, Christina, all the same, a local program for lending money to farmers, the natural disaster.
Krishna, I think the question focuses more on financing. So
Yes.
what are the problems in terms of accessing financing for young farmers? Is it easy? Is it difficult? So the other participants said there are programs, government programs to provide funds or loans to young farmer. But the question is, how easy is it to access those? I mean, do you have to submit many requirements? Are they asking for collateral, etc., etc.? So how successful are you in accessing any financing? It could be from the government, it could be from a private bank, it could be from an NGO, and so on. So what are your difficulties or challenges? So for example, Joy of Philippines, Pakisama, she said that we have joined the Department of Agriculture Young Farmer Challenge Program, where there is a chance to get 50,000, that's around $1,000, to 500,000 pesos, depending on the project model. Also, there are lending offers in Department of Agriculture like Kaya loan. However, the requirements are really hard, but I believe if we have a very good business proposal, it will be approved easily.
Yeah, that is a very good point.
Yeah. So the question, Troy, is that is the requirement just the business proposal, or are they asking additional requirements that is hard to get or expensive to get? Yeah, it is difficult to, Christina said, it is difficult to apply so many requirements for a young farmer like me. So maybe, Christina, if you could write down the requirements that they are asking from you, so that the other participants here could also learn about them.
Yeah, the requirements are always a problem, and that is something that should be addressed in terms of services for the farmers and the young farmers, which usually individually find it difficult to. This is the role of association. This is the role of.
So Joy said that additional requirements like collateral, original land titles, barangay clearance, more than one valid IDs, and bank accounts. So these are actually, because if you're a farmer or a young farmer, number one, these are very expensive to get. You have to spend money to go to their offices, and then maybe there are some fees that you have to pay. It will take you 1 or more days to get them, and that automatically means that you cannot work for that day that you're processing your papers and so on. And then, for example, if you're getting valid IDs, sometimes when you apply for a valid ID, they require you to submit another ID too. So it's a difficult problem to overcome.
Yeah, particularly for startups, the lack of collateral is quite natural in many cases. And that is the main barrier, and therefore we can go to cooperative guarantee, credit guarantees, cooperative to credit guarantees, groups to initiative to second level or joint initiatives to help the small farmers, the young farmers, startup particularly, to get to provide guarantees for their loans application. That is we are now stepping into the solutions from the problems, but definitely you are touching the usual problems, which is collateral. If we look at from the bank perspective, the financial institution perspective, they want to be guaranteed, which is fine. The issue is which kind of guarantee. The guarantee might be collateral, might be, as Kisama said, the quality of the business proposal. A good business proposal is somehow a kind of guarantee, not as a collateral. I understand from the bank perspective that the collateral is safer as a guarantee, but you see how the culture of money lending should change, in that they're moving from easy ways, which is collateral. It's very easy. I would be a banker as well if I work only on collateral. I give you money if you are collateral, otherwise I don't. I would never risk anything, which is not the reality, because we saw and we are seeing the crashes of banks because they lend money not in the best way, but that's another story. So shifting from the easy way of lending money versus collateral, to the most difficult, money versus business proposal, quality of business proposal, which is much more difficult to assess. It is much easier to assess the value of a collateral than the quality, the value of a business proposal. That is the cultural things that we should advocate for in the business, in the financial institutions, through the help of the public sector, the public institution. Very difficult, but that is what we need. Nepal say that young farmers could not have funds bank, or cooperatives could not give loan. Yeah, that is still confirming what we are saying. Christina is talking about the difficult requirements, and Lao, high interest rates, which is absolutely another problem. Is obvious. The interest is also is a market indicator, is a market element, which depends on the security of the credit. The more secure the credit is, the lower the interest rate. So the cost of having money with less guarantee is the higher interest rate. That is one of the result, unless specific or say integrated measures, policy measures, I mean, are taken, and there is a public intervention also to regulate somehow, to influence the interest rates with specific direct measure. But yes, the interest rate is one of the problems. So we can reduce, or we can have a more conducive system of requirements. But then if that turns into too high interest rate, it won't be ineffective, as ineffective is a strong, strict system of requirements. You must have collateral. Now is saying it must have a stable income. It must have a stable income is something that we can somehow prove to our business plan. The collateral is something that is there or not. And if it is not there, we cannot access funds unless other measures are taken from the policies of ourselves in terms of providing shared guarantees for our request of money. Sure. Thank you.
Okay. Dario, is someone talking, or are we waiting for additional response?
And I can now I can hear you again. Yes.
Okay.
I lost you for a while, probably. You are talking about information, right? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, we see the replication of problems that we experiment in many conditions, many situations, and the lack of collateral is often one the major constraint. And therefore, I have to just to reiterate the need of looking at solutions that are somehow, on the one hand, directly managed by the farmers through collective initiative, for instance, for guarantees, and the other from the public to facilitate the opportunity for farmers to get guarantees for loan applications, for account applications, in the case, if it is the case. And this is a very complex issue that involves a number of stakeholders, which are the farmers on the one hand, the public institution on the other, and in the middle, the financial institutions, which have their own interest, and they are developing their business strategies in ways that often are not very conducive to agriculture. That is the negative experience I have in many countries, that financial institutions working with different sectors, but much less with agriculture, because all what we have said before, the instability of income, the lack of collateral, or the poor collateral can be provided and offered as guaranteed. So yeah, that is, you see that this is, we are entering now one of the most sensitive issues. Therefore, when writing our business plan, we should be very careful, but very precise in addressing the financial description of our business. That is extremely important, because this is one of the sections, and the kind of information that those who are reading our business plan will look at very, very carefully. So thank you very much for your contribution also to this session, and let's move now to the executive summary. So today we have seen and we have spoken about the mission, the vision, the values, then the cost that we have, then the access to finance, or the financial management of our business. So we more or less have a clear idea of what should be in our business plan. Now I want to guide you to write a summary, to summarize the results of our writing of the business plan into the executive summary, which we do at the end, although in the structure of a document, it is at the beginning. And this is what we are sure that others will read. It should be very synthetic, 1, 2, 3 pages. It depends on the dimension and the characteristics of our vision, but very synthetic. Very synthetic. To provide the overview on our farm or our group of farmers. And therefore this to introduce our company, our farm, explaining what we are doing, what we want to do, and therefore say somehow resembling holding our mission, our vision. When you write the executive summary, always consider the executive summary as if it were a standalone document. document. It is not. It is strictly connected with the remaining narrative and parts and charts that we put in our business plan. But consider it as if it were standard. So if the readers read the executive summary only, is that enough? Is that providing enough information, enough to understand our business, our farming activity? When you answer yes to that, the executive summary is probably a good executive summary. But always don't forget what we said before, that it must be very synthetic. 1, 2, maximum 3 pages, not more. Otherwise, it is not an executive summary anymore, but it is a repetition of our study, of our business plan. So be synthetic, but be very concise in a manner that it might be a standalone document and be enough to describe our business. So what are the components? At the beginning, to start with one sentence or very synthetic paragraph of overview of our farm. So the essence of what we are doing, which comes from the mission, which might come from the vision, mixed together or presented together. Then identifying the problem that we are solving from the customer's perspective. Therefore, starting in the executive summary, giving focus to what we stress today is very important. The market is important, absolutely right. Therefore, in the executive summary, let's give clear understanding to those who are reading it, that we know our market and we are solving problems that are from our customers and therefore talking of solutions. So the executive summary must be extremely positive. Therefore, yes, there is floor for the problems, but in terms of instrumental elements for the solutions. In the executive summary, we should highlight the solutions that we are proposing, offering to our customers for the success of our business. And therefore, solution is the most relevant elements rather than the problem. The problems are obviously described in the business plan. But here we should really present things in the way that solutions are prevailing, and solutions are what attracts the reader of our business plan, and in this case of our executive summary. Solutions are related to market, said that, and therefore must be clear in the executive summary what is our market, particularly our target market, what we want to target in the market segments that we are addressing. And they're explaining about competition. So particularly, once more, being positive, therefore not claiming only that there is competition, but saying how we position our business within the competition, the market competition that is obviously there. So it would be in the largest majority of the situation, it would be unrealistic not say that we have not competition. We have got it. Solutions is the key, our keyword, and therefore talking of competition, how we address it, in which way we can differentiate ourselves from competitors, if we can. Obviously, the more we can do that, the better our business plan, our executive summary, we look. The less we can do that, the weaker will our business proposal, our proposal be, because it will be a business proposal like many others and affected by the competition. Then what else? You remember that we spoke about today about the importance of our team. So we will have within the business plan a description of our team, of ourselves, of the farmer, of the entrepreneur. Here we should summarize it and clarify why our team is good, why we as an entrepreneur are good. We mentioned, although we will see them later in details, but let's refer to Milin chart on the cost or the financial plan. So in the executive summary, obviously we should allocate a good portion of it to the financial and the economic and financial plan, and therefore providing some figures about our financial plan. Expected revenues, costs. We can summarize that in a table as well, which might not be the same table of the business plan itself, but a summary of the table, the main figures like the revenues, the cost, and the gross profit, the value of the assets that we have, clarify there if we own the land or not, if we have machinery, if we have any kind of asset. The main elements of our financial operations. And then related to the vision, but not only related to our objectives, how we see the future of our business. So being willing to be positive, let's present a perspective of our business and tell them that particularly with the initiative that we are, for instance, applying money for, we will be more successful. We will have more perspective, better market perspective, better technology, better quality of the product. Obviously, when you write the executive summary, always keep some of our major tools on hand, which is the mission, the vision, the values, and make reference to them here and there to give them value and to be more effective in your proposition of this the summary of our business. So these are the section that you can play with, not necessarily. You see, I did not make a clear structure in chapters because it depends on on any single business. But definitely you can figure out a first short introduction, the overview of our business, the solutions that we are proposing according to the market, and therefore third section where we clearly describe our market and market competition, and then how we are organized, therefore our team, who we are. Then fifth section on the financial plan, financial economic plan, where we talk about economic results, profit and losses, and where we describe our assets, our capital. And then the last one, the perspectives, what is next, what we will achieve in the future, what the investment, for instance, that we want to do and we are applying the money for will serve for the prosperity and the success of our business. So in this way, we are providing a quite good indication and description of what we are. Once more, this should stay in a couple of pages on average, not more if possible. So let's now make kind of practical work together, which I already started, because when we spoke about this section of the business plan, we already started entering a kind of practical work. And somehow in the previous chats, you already gave some answers touching the importance of the market, for instance, or the importance of the collateral. Now, in your view, what should you highlight in your conditions in the executive summary? So try to think on what could be the amazing thing of your executive summary. What might be the spark that attracts the interest of your reader? Because we must also recall that we can play on the editing, sharp editing, highlighting some parts of the text to attract the interest of the readers. So we have also very practical tools to make the executive summary more attractive. But let's see, what would you highlight more in your condition? What is the key part that you would highlight in your business plan? Let's open a short discussion. Oh, no, ciao. So let's talk together a little on how do you in which way you would fill in these 6 sections that I can list them.
So maybe if someone can quickly describe what they will be including in their business, in their executive summary, in the business plan's executive summary. Just quickly describe. Of course, we know that you need time to write the whole thing, but what do you think you would, what do you plan to include in the executive summary if you have the chance to write it? Anyone? Yeah.
You can make reference to these 6 sections, for instance, as your reference. It is not a rule, it is not necessary. I am not telling you to follow this structure, but have this as a checklist and see whether in the executive summary you have covered these sections. With the first, the short overview being a kind of executive summary of the executive summary. So the very short overview of who we are, which can come, as I mentioned before, from the mission and the vision, the values, if you want. You can stress that. For instance, the commitment for the environment might be very interesting and very relevant when we are applying for money, for instance, to buy a car, a piece of equipment, or something that has a good impact, a positive impact on environmental performances of our farm. So try always to look at what you are writing in terms of consistency. That all parts are consistent. That there are no parts that are not justified or conflicting with others. Look at that. When you write and you read it again, read it again to see that everything is consistent and there are no discrepancies in what we are saying. And obviously that everything that is in the executive summary, that is a general, strict, strong rule that whatever is written in the executive summary is justified, is rooted into the business plan. So there should not be anything completely new in the executive summary. There must be a different way of writing what we have written in the business plan, but nothing completely new there. Millie, please.
Yes, maybe a tip also, which applies to all document writing, is that you put yourself in the position of your reader. So for example, if you're writing the business plan and the executive summary to submit it to a bank officer or a grants officer or whoever, so the objective is for them to agree to lend you money or to agree to give you money. So what will make them give you money? So that's what you have to write in your executive summary, that number one, these are the problems that we have. Number two, these are the solutions that we propose. Number three, here are the benefits, including the economic benefits for both you and I, right? Because if it's a bank, for example, they have to earn money and so on. So you could say to them that with the money that you're lending us, we would produce this product with this amount of profit that we can give back to you, that we can pay the interest that you will assign to us, and so on and so forth. So as for writing any type of document, always put yourself in the position of the reader, and the goal is to persuade that reader to do what you want. Okay, so that's from me.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just putting one note there regarding our attention that we have to pay to the targets of our business plan, to whom our business plan is directed. And therefore, don't forget that we write the business plan and the executive summary for ourselves. We said that at the very beginning of our training, that the business plan is something that can also even lead us to quit with the specific idea we are considering there, because we see that all together, all considered, it is not viable, and for someone else. And we should, as Melin was saying, putting ourselves in their shoes, in the shoes of that someone else, for instance, the bank officer, whom we have to persuade that we are doing something good, which is good for us, obviously, first, otherwise it will never work, but also good for them, that they will also be successful if they help us with our business idea. That is the way. So say that somehow this might be empathy might be the key style word for us. Being having high empathy with those who are reading the business plan, who are us first, but also this external subject that might be financial institution. That is very simple example, but very common. So let's be empathic with us and with with the financial institutions we are approaching for our business plan. Perfect. That is a very good tip, a very good approach for us. So look at that 6 sections. Be sure that they are filled in, they are properly filled in, that what is written there is consistent among the 6 sections, and that each section is rooted into the larger business plan text and the document, figures, charts. So is there any specific question now or some practical example, some fun can show their experience on business planning? We mentioned already the problems, so I don't want you to repeat the problems that we already discussed about regarding access to finance, for instance, access to market. That is clear. Specific experience, if any, on business planning. Just very short. Otherwise, we can move then to, after that, we can move to the practical review of how a business plan might look in terms of the figures, which is at the end the conclusion of our work. We have to put everything into figures.
Or maybe Dario, this would be, is this a great time for our Miss Cam from Lao to share
Exactly
about their enterprise?
That is the right moment.
Yes. So
Can they do that?
yeah, Kyo, can you confirm if Miss Cam can already do the sharing of LFN? Hello, are you still there?
Can they share, or should I stop sharing?
Yeah, you could. I mean, they don't have a PowerPoint presentation, but maybe it's good to stop sharing the screen so that.
Yes, I do, and then we start again.
Okay. Our friends from go ahead.
สบายดีตอนนี้อากาศอยู่ลาวก็เริ่มมีพายุเข้ามาแล้วเนาะแต่บ่แน่ใจว่า
Wait for a while, Miss Cam. For
บ่
the
แน่ใจว่าได้ยินเสียงฝนหรือบ่
for the Lao translator, would you mind translating it to English?
Let me see.
ตอนนี้ฝนมันตกแห้งหลายแล้วมันเป็นปัญหาสำหรับข่อยที่จะแลกเปลี่ยนกับทางทีมงาน
Wait for a while, Miss Cam. Vanida, the interpreter, would you mind interpreting in the English channel?
คือธุรกิจของข่อยเนาะจะแม่นการเฮ็ดฟาร์มไก่ในเบื้องต้นเนาะข่อยได้เริ่มเลี้ยงไก่
Okay, I don't understand what's happening. I can hear a guy in the English channel. Hello? Vanida, would you mind interpreting in the English channel? Hello? Wait for a while, Cam. We're just fixing the English interpretation.
I see.
We lost the Lao interpreter. Yeah. She got dropped in the call. Okay, let me admit her. And then let me assign. Hi, Vanida, I'll reassign you in the Lao channel. Okay. Oh, sorry to hear that. So please start whenever you're ready. And please tell Miss Cam as well. So, and also if the internet is good, maybe she could turn on her video so that the rest of the people could see her. Okay.
โดยเปิดได้แต่ว่ามันเป็นฟ้าห้อง ด้านย่านฟ้าสิพานะเพราะว่าตอนนี้พายุกำลังมาอีกแล้วได้ยินเอาว่าบ่
Okay.
โดย
Yes, audio is good. Just audio is good.
โอเคสบายดีหาน้องซื้อผู้เขาคำเนาะเป็นวัยหนุ่มในเครือข่ายเอากสิกรลาวนี่แหละธุรกิจหลักของน้องเนาะก็คือน้องเลี้ยงไก่แล้วก็ปลูกผักเป็นผักออร์แกนิกนี่แหละแล้วก็ในเบื้องต้นเนาะน้องก็บ่มีทุนดอกยืมดอกเบี้ยนอกระบบยืมเงินสถาบันจุลภาคเนาะดอกเบี้ย5%ยืมในนามของกลุ่มบัดนี้มันตกอยู่ปีหนึ่งเนาะปีหนึ่ง60%ดอกเบี้ยเบื้องต้นน้องเลี้ยงไก่จำนวน10ตัวต่อจากนั้นน้องก็ได้ซื้อตู้ฟักไข่แล้วก็เอามาฟักไก่ของน้องเนาะปีหนึ่งน้องจะได้ไก่อยู่2,000 ตัวแล้วธุรกิจของน้องเนาะเริ่มสำเร็จไปเรื่อยๆน้องมีรายรับเดือนหนึ่งประมาณ30 ปลายล้านกีบลบรายจ่ายอื่นลบค่าลุยเฮียนลบค่าพนักงานลบรายจ่ายอื่นออกหมดเหลือประมาณเดือนหนึ่ง10 ปลายล้านหลังจากนั้นน้องก็เริ่มปลดหนี้ได้ในปีที่3แล้วปีที่4ธุรกิจเลี้ยงไก่ของน้องเนาะน้องจะมีรูปภาพแต่ว่าน้องบ่แน่ใจว่าปีที่4น้องธุรกิจของน้องเนาะเริ่มขยายตัวแล้วก็น้องก็ได้ไปซื้อดินอีกตอนนึง อันน่ะอยู่ทางเมืองสังทองเนาะอยู่สปป.ลาวแต่ว่านะก็เริ่มมีกำไรมาเรื่อยๆแต่ฮอดปี2019เนาะเริ่มมีโควิดตอนนี้น้องก็เริ่มมีปัญหาปัญหาก็คือว่าปิดประเทศเนาะราคาสินค้าก็ตกต่ำแล้วก็สินค้าก็บ่ได้ส่งออกจนฮอดปัจจุบันนี้เนาะอันน่ะน้องก็เริ่มมีปัญหาเพราะว่าน้องได้ซื้อหัวอาหารจากประเทศเพื่อนบ้านเนาะคือประเทศไทยและอันน่ะค่าเงินบาทน่ะมันสูงหลายอันน่ะทุกมื้อนี้เนาะไก่น้องมีจำนวน 6,000 ปลายโตวน้องเก็บไข่ได้มื้อหนึ่ง 5,000 ปลายหน่วยเฉลี่ยรายรับต่อมื้อเนาะมื้อหนึ่งก็ประมาณ4 ล้านปลายแต่ว่าไก่ของน้องเนาะจะกินไปแล้ว3 ล้านปลายในนั้นยังบ่ได้ลบเงินเดือนพนักงานลบรายจ่ายอื่นออกตัวนี้ก็คือเป็นปัญหาสำหรับน้องเนาะน้องก็อยากแลกเปลี่ยนเนาะทางอาจารย์แล้วก็ขอขอบใจเนาะธุรกิจของน้องก็คือมันมีปัญหาในช่วงโควิดนี่แหละโดย ฟ้าห้องหลาย บ่กล้าเว้าหลาย
Thank you very much, Cam and Vanida, for interpreting. So we saw, at least I saw in Cam's presentation that there is an opportunity to earn and to expand, but at the same time, the challenges are also, they are continuous, and we really need to adapt. I do have a question though, and maybe it's not necessarily for Cam, but also to the other participants. Is 5% per month interest rate normal, or is it low, or is it high? Because for me, I feel that it is high, because for credit card, for example, if I'm comparing it to a credit card interest, it's only 2 to 3.5%. That's the normal. I am just surprised that the interest rate, for example, for Miss Cam is 5% per month. So it means that it's really a high risk. They're considering it as a high risk loan. Yeah, so Mio said that it is medium interest,
โดย
5% for
แม่น
loan.
แล้วดอกเบี้ยน้องยืมเฮ็ดธุรกิจทำอิฐนาเพราะว่าวัยหนุ่มมันเข้าบ่ถึงเนาะก็เลยได้ไปยืมนำจุลภาคซึ่งเป็นเอกชนเขาเจ้าจะออก 5% ต่อเดือน แต่ว่าเขาเจ้าจะบ่ได้เก็บเป็นเดือนเด้เขาเจ้าต้องเก็บเป็นอาทิตย์หนึ่งเราต้องจ่ายทั้งต้นทั้งดอกให้เขาเจ้าไปเลยถือว่าเบิดในนั้นไปเลยในระยะ3 ปีนะ
Okay. So anyone who has questions to Miss Cam? So Cam, I know that it's starting to rain, so it's okay if you cannot reply via if it's okay if you reply just using the chat box, if that's the only way for you. Okay. So any questions from the group?
Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
Doc.
go ahead.
Madam, I am representing from Northeast India.
Yes.
I am the Secretary General of Indigenous Peoples of Pongton Sunkham. We want to know how our farmers will be go with your plan and how they will benefit from your organization. Thank you, madam.
Yeah, so Mr. Anup or Chow, yeah. So actually this is an ongoing training or webinar. So for AFA, what we're doing right now is providing trainings for young farmers. So in this instance, this webinar series is to train them on agri-forest enterprise development, and we're helping them develop their own business plans that they can use to um, seek for grants, whether from AFA if there are available funds, or they can also use it in banks or other grant agencies or government agencies that provide these type of support.
So for this, whether, madam, I want to know, would you have to register our farmers with your organization, and what will be the process?
Yeah, so this will be shared later on. This will be shared later on. So please just follow our social media pages once any type of support is available.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so any
Okay, madam.
questions? Any question from the group? If none, I'm giving back the floor to Dario.
Yes. Thank you, Milene. Well, that the example is interesting, particularly interesting for me. Negatively interesting is this high interest rate. As Milene said, for her, for myself as well, 60% of interest rate per year is extremely high, and it is affecting the possibilities of the business, because you have to save, set aside a quite impressive amount of money to repay it back. And therefore, particularly in this context of high inflation that you mentioned.
Sorry, Dario, for a while. Sorry, who was talking? Okay. There's no slide yet. There's no slide yet. Dario, they're asking if.
Yes, I understood. No, not at the moment. I'm just talking, and then we go to the Excel file. So in this context of high inflation, probably what we should tell and we should demonstrate is our capacity to reduce costs. That I'm talking now about the general objective of reduction of cost, and also our capacity to influence price formation. So our capacity to be in the market with a certain strength in the price formation mechanism, because otherwise, on the one hand, the big amount of money that we have to set aside to pay back our loan, 60%. The high inflation, probably the combination of these two elements might make our business very not viable or very exposed to risks. And therefore, strategies are cost reduction on the one hand, and controlling the price formation on the other hand. Surely in these conditions, joint initiative, shared initiative for the business on the one hand, and on the other hand, for the access to finance would be important, would be necessary to think than them about, because this might be a cross-cutting solution to address the cost of the loans, perhaps, but definitely the cost reduction and the control on the price formation mechanism. These are simply the strategies that are necessary and that we might describe in our business plan. The executive summary, for instance, in the last section, where we talk about the perspective. Given these current circumstances of high interest rates and high inflation, our strategies are the reduction of cost, explaining how, new technology, pure reduction, and how to address the market in terms of more control on the price formation, in terms of better, stronger relationship with our customer. This should be basically the key strategies to consider. Then perhaps thinking more, we can find others. But these are, from my side, the main points, the main elements at this point. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. We are in the chat. Oh yeah, yes. With 60%, I don't expect that for farmers, not startup, I mean the interest rate will be that much good when we have a market, financial market like that. And you see here the importance of policies, the importance of on the public side, and the importance of for the small farmers to get organized. From Laos, they spoke about microfinance. So if the microfinance interest are 60%, I don't know what happens with the conventional finance. Okay, any other point? Because we have still 15 minutes, and through which I want to guide you through the key parts and charts of the business plan. Let me try sharing the screen, which is never easy here. Here we are.
โดยอันน่ะอยู่ในลาวมันจะเว้าเรื่องอันน่ะราคาของสินค้า
Okay, go ahead.
เพราะว่าน่ะการตั้งราคาอยู่ในลาวเนาะมันมีคู่แข่งหนึ่งก็คือประเทศเวียดนามตัวอย่างคือของน้องสินค้ามันเป็นไข่ไก่ลาดเป็นไข่พื้นบ้านแล้วก็เป็นไข่ออร์แกนิกเนาะอันน่ะเวลาเฮาตั้งราคาเนาะมันถ้าตั้งสูงเกินไปคู่แข่งของเฮาน่ะมันจะตั้งราคาถูกกว่าเฮาอีกแล้วบัดนี้น่ะกลุ่มคนที่ซื้อไปบริโภคนะเขาเจ้าจะบ่จำแนกว่าไข่นี้เป็นไข่ออร์แกนิกหรือว่าไข่เป็นไข่จากมาจากไสเขาฮู้แต่ว่าไข่แล้วเขาก็ซื้อไปบริโภคเลยโดยบ่จำแนกว่าคุณภาพมันเป็นแบบใดอันนี้มันเป็นปัญหาหลายสำหรับน้องในปัจจุบันในการตั้งราคาสินค้าเพราะว่าคันหาตั้งสูงเกินไปเนาะลูกค้าก็จะบ่ซื้อไปบริโภคถ้าตั้งต่ำเกินไปน้องก็จะเสี่ยงในการลุกทุนเพราะว่าปัจจุบันนี้เงินลาวมันเรทมันต่ำล้านอาหารก็ต้องได้ซื้อจากประเทศเพื่อนบ้านต้นทุนการผลิตมันสูงแล้วเราจะบ่สามารถตั้งราคาสูงได้ขอขอบใจอาจารย์
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is going in the direction that we were, the strategic direction that we were mentioning before, regarding the price competition, particularly market competition, which is difficult to address. The medium long-term strategies are those that I was mentioning before, which is cost reduction and consolidation of the supply. That is probably the main strategy, because according to what we understand regarding the internal competition, but the outside competition coming from Vietnam and other countries, which is a general trend that we cannot stop. That is what's happening in the global markets. We may like it or not. That's another story. But that is unfortunately for us, small farmers, the situation. What we can do is to start a program of consolidation of supplies where we are the main actors. Therefore, we should start organizing ourselves, and also looking for public support from the public institutions in terms of help. Aid that might be a financial help for the groups, might be a privilege, the tax regime for the groups, at least for the introductory period. But having technical support, because technical support is also needed for the establishment of groups. These are the medium long-term strategies that can be recommended, not necessarily being sure that they will fully function, because even in advanced agriculture we see that the globalization is so strong in terms of disruption of the internal market that even big groups of farmers find it difficult to compete, or say better, that their prices are not going as they wish, but they are still going according to the influence of the global markets. They are better, yes, but not perfect in terms of profitability and in terms of returning money back to the farmers for their production. But yes, that is the strategy that we should consider, and therefore looking at the solutions, looking at the future that we want to describe, see whether we might be part of a mechanism of consolidation of supply that might give us more strength in our business to protect ourselves from this situation. If you look at the SWOT, probably here we are in the square of the protection, where we have threat from the market, and the threats are high interest rates, high inflation, and weaknesses from our side in terms of fragmentation of the supply, in terms of lack of organization of the supply. Therefore, these two combinations mean that protection strategy that might be the consolidation of the supply as one of the solution, and the reduction of costs as one of the other solutions. Probably the fragmentation, the small dimension, can determine for us higher production costs. So, in this condition, a business plan presented to a financial institution would be looked at with very suspicious attitude, because there are not good external conditions that stimulate lending money to such a business activity. So we must be very careful in that. and therefore proving that we are able in this condition to pay back 60% of interest rate per year, it's not an easy task. I definitely recognize that. But thank you very much for the example. I hope that it is somehow well. You have the presentation right from their side. You have some materials maybe, so we can file them in our training material, because this is very interesting. Oh, now we have the last 15 minutes. Let's look at how the profit and loss chart would look. It is now very general. I will provide this file, which is an editable Microsoft Excel file through Milin, so you can have it and use it. You see, it is in for 3 years, but you can add other columns and make it to 5. And we have first, you see in black, the gross profit, and then the profit and loss. The gross profit is the difference between the revenues, the values of sales, and the direct costs. Direct costs are the costs that you see there: raw materials, agricultural inputs, design, packages, whatever is strictly related to the product that we are selling. We are selling, say, rice. The raw material that you are buying to produce the rice, seed, for instance, is also there among agricultural inputs. Fertilizers, organic manure, whatever it is. Then design, whatever is related to the packages, for instance, and the packages themselves. These are the direct costs. For selling the rice, we need to produce it, and produce it we need directly related to the output, the raw materials and the inputs, and then we need to package it. Perhaps if we sell it in bulk, we don't have that cost, but let's consider it as a possible usual cost. If we calculate the difference between the revenue, the sales, and this direct cost, we have the gross profit. The gross profit is not the final profit, because you see the final profit here, or loss, it depends on the amount, which comes from the general cost that we cannot relate specifically to the unit of product, but they are general, like the overheads that we will see later what they are, the salaries, very important, the work, the interest charges, the installments that we have, and the depreciation of any asset that we have. So when we add all these general, say, cross-cutting costs, we might have the final profit or loss calculation. The interest charges, 60% in Lao, are there, and you see that we might have a very good gross profit, as they have, from what I said, but at the end, the profit is much lower because we have to pay a lot of money for the interest. Overheads, we mentioned. Overheads are general costs, like insurance, stationery, telephone, internet connection, advertising, license fees, if anyone, accountancy, if we have the obligation of accountant, water in general terms. Perhaps we might calculate water as a direct cost if it is very specific. We can do that, if you can do that. But otherwise, it is here. So you must look at your business in practice and see whether water, for instance, is a direct cost like an input, or it is a general cost, an overhead, a kind of overhead that we consider a general cost for our farm. If you use a technician an agronomist, an advisor. This is also here in the overheads. So costs that are difficult to specifically relate and depending on the production, on the pure production. So let's go back. Let's refresh this chart. There we start from the calculation of the gross profit, sales minus direct cost, inputs, particularly for us, inputs and packages. The water is an input or not, we see. And then we add additional general costs like work, labor, like interest, like the depreciation, and the overheads. And second step, therefore, from the gross profit, we detract these additional general costs and we get the real profit or loss. Another important chart is the cash flow. The cash flow here is per month. You see that it's per month. I think that you can see that it is. And here we put the cash that we receive from the sales. So here we have the total sales in the year. In the cash flow, we write the money that we received per month. For instance, I can write 3,000 in the first month, which is generating a total receipt of 3,000 and at this moment a net cash flow of 3,000. Obviously, we don't have any expense. Then we see what we are paying, the payments. For instance, payments for raw materials or inputs. And we pay 5,000 that month for the raw materials. There is no strict relation. We can pay even 5,000 theoretically if we buy a big stock of seeds or a big stock of fertilizers. Then we buy some packages, 500. Then we pay the salaries, say other 600 units of our currency. Then we have some overheads, say 300. You see that at this moment, we see that we have 3,000 income, that we have 6,400 payments. So we have a lack of cash of 3,400. Here, we should see how we fund this lack of money, which is, we said, particularly related to the purchase of inputs. We bought a stock of inputs. We want to buy a stock of inputs for 5,000, but we have only 3,000 cash sales in that month. So we have to see and to justify how to make it. For instance, through the introduction of 3,000 units of own capital or more, because say 5,000. In this case, that is one of the way we can fund it. That is one of the way we can fund it. Or it could be that we get a loan, an input loan, for instance, 10,000 units for a loan that we have applied or that we apply for. For instance, that is the loan that we are applying for. And we are applying 10,000 units of currency loan to buy the raw materials and fund our business, to have a kind of cash capital to run our business. And you see that in this case, we would have a net cash flow of 6,600 units that we can use for the next month. The next month having more cash. Again, we are selling again our product. We don't have any more the raw material cost, in this case expense. We might have the packages, yes, we might have the overheads, we have definitely the salaries. And you see that in the second month, thanks to the loan that we have received, that have started our engine of business, we can have a positive cash flow, and we are starting saving money. And therefore, we can start, because here we will have interest charges of capital payments. Here we will have the two, say that we are paying the 5% month, right, we said. So if it is 10,000, we would have interest 500, right? $500 interest charge. And we put it there. And we, through the sales and the cash money that we have received, we are running this financial engine to pay it back. And we see that if it goes like that, so with the 3,000 currency unit of sales per month, we are improving our cash flow. So we are showing with this very simple calculation that we are in the position of repaying back this very high interest rate. Obviously, here I put only the interest, but we are paying back to them the interest and the capital. So we have to make a calculation, say that we are repaying 800 approximately of capital back. So our installment rate will be 500. I'm calculating very roughly, forgive me, but 500 of interest and approximately 800 of capital refund, capital payment back. Does not change the situation. Obviously it does, but does not invert the trend of a positive trend of our cash flow based on this 10,000 loan insertion of money, cash money to our business. So if they look at when obviously this chart should be completely expanded. Now we have just making a quick example. If this is expanded well, it should convince the borrower of the money that these 10,000 units of the currency are well used to support this small business. So let's please look at this chart when you receive them, familiarize with them. If you have questions, just write to Melina, to myself, to clarify any doubts. Last, the balance sheet. The balance sheet is related to the assets, and therefore here we should say how much capital we have at the beginning, the inventory, the value of the land, the inventory might be machinery, equipment, other properties, intangible assets like a brand, for instance, can be also included here and assessed with and given a certain monetary value. These are the most important for us, actually, those that are in blue. Then I kept it from another kind of business, which is more sophisticated. In general, here in a small family farm, we don't have the green and the white assets or liabilities in general. So let's focus on the blue, particularly the 5 assets, which might be our case. And let's show how they change in the different years, and therefore the working capital that we have at the beginning, the cash that we have at the end, and we take it from here. When we have the closing balance at the end of the year, we can put it into the balance sheet, because that will be our cash, the cash that we really own, our wallet. That is what they have in terms of real cash. The inventory might remain the same if we don't we don't buy any equipment, any machinery. Same the land. If the land remains the same, this value will stay the same for the entire period, 3 or 5 years that we are considering. Same for the intangible assets, in principle. Property, plant, equipment, the same. We don't buy anything or sell it, it won't change. If we buy a piece of equipment, we will increase the asset here. We will have in the cash flow, say that in month 12, we buy, where is it? Here, capital payments, for instance, here we buy for 5,000 a piece of equipment, we can pay it, we can put it there. And in the profit of loss, we will have more interest charges and depreciation. So there is always a connection among these charts. So what we do in terms of, for instance, paying an investment, buy a piece of equipment, we reflect into the balance sheet structure, our assets, the cash flow, because we are getting money out, and in the profit or loss, because we have to calculate the depreciation and the interest rates and capital repayments in terms of the yearly share of it. So it is an interrelated mechanism of compiling these 4, particularly 3, profit and loss, cash flow, and balance sheet charts. We will have the coaching session as well to familiarize more with this. Melina, I will send it later, and then you can circulate to the groups. So it is time now to stop, as we said. Let's keep questions for the coaching session or in between. So you can always write us, Melina and myself, for question. Let me see in the chat if there is something.
None.
Yes, absolutely. Now, Keo is saying you need to know your production cost before set the prices. Yes, you remember when we mentioned about pricing, the different way of pricing, starting from the cost, starting from the market, looking at competition. There are different methodologies, but definitely you need to know your cost to see whether a certain price is viable for you or not. Thank you very much for the comment. These comments are very relevant. Therefore, if you have comments like that, please, during this period that is passing from now to the coaching session, ask ask. And obviously, please ask questions on the use of the balance sheet and the chart that I'm sending.
So, Dario, should I come in and
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. You can wrap up.
Yeah, so thank you very much, everyone. So let me just quickly share my screen. So I think there are a lot of topics, or there are a lot of concepts that we learned today. And I'm sure those concepts, those topics are still brewing over your mind. So it's okay. So just the next steps for this activity. So our next one-on-one coaching session is on June 14, 2022. But of course, if there will be difficulties in pinning down the schedule for you, we could also arrange other time within that week. So I will circulate all information via email. In the email, I will also include the business plan template, which is based on the previous homework and assignments. Okay. And other documents such as the one that Dario just shared from now. There will also be a 5th webinar that will be organized after the coaching session. The date is still to be finalized, but the webinar will include the pitching of your enterprise idea or your business plan.
That's why it will be after the coaching session.
Yes. So with those activities, just a few reminders to everyone. So we encourage the focal points from the organizations to please review with your participants the previous webinars using the recording links that I have shared. So I know that we have discussed a lot of topics. We have a lot of sessions. So if you have an opportunity to review the topics with your participants, it will be good. So that will help them with developing or answering their business plan. Second, we encourage all participants to take their time in developing the business plan based on what you learned or what they learned from the webinars. So again, you have from now, May 24 to June 14, to think about your business plan, to write your business plan, and by June 14, you could present the draft to Dario, to Junie, to Leo, and they can provide feedback. And then once they provide feedback, you can use that feedback to further improve your business plan, your enterprise idea. And third, we encourage all participants to schedule a slot in the next coaching session, because in the first round, there were only, I forgot how many countries, but not everyone was able to get a coaching slot. So the next round, I think my suggestion is for you to take advantage of the time that our experts are giving us to further improve our enterprise idea or business plan. So just imagine this is free. This is free consultation. So let's take advantage of this opportunity. So don't worry, all information, all documents, again, as always, will be sent to you via email. And if you have any questions, please feel free to email me and Dario, and we will respond accordingly. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. From the next coaching sessions, I want to be at home, and in that period, I will be in Europe for other purposes. Therefore, my time zone will be easier. I apologize not having participated in all coaching session because it was really night here, and I have not I was not bold enough to wake up regularly at 2 o'clock in the morning. So I apologize. I was very interested in the Mongolia experience. I have read the summary of the coaching. So it was something. But next time I will have possibility to participate more easily, because the time zone will not be so obstructive like it is now. So thank you very much, Milene, and thank you to all of you for the day.
Yeah,
We
thank
stay
you.
in touch.
Yeah, Dario, maybe I don't have time to extend, but maybe we could just exchange emails and see how we can move forward,
Yes.
maybe with Leo and
Yeah.
Junie as well.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. Always keep Leo and Jude.
Yeah, thank you everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.